Welcome to episode 90 of the Guardian 1 podcast. We record live Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian 1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I'm joined by CrimZon Warlock.
What's up, everybody?
Jez.
Good morning.
Agrios.
Live from far outside the wall.
Sharks.
Yo.
And Gray.
Hello, everyone.
We are going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
Hello, Guardians. Thank you for listening in on the podcast, however it is that you are choosing to listen. Be sure to follow Guardian 1 on Twitter, at G1Net. That's G, the number 1, N-E-T. In addition, be sure to check out the Guardian 1 website at guardian1.net. If you want to send us an email, you can send it to feedback@guardian1.net. If you do a search on budget.net for Guardian 1, you'll find our forums group, which we also use for both comments and feedback. Big thank you to all those currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1Network. We broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. If you can't catch the show live, you can always search for the Guardian 1 podcast on iTunes, as well as the Guardian 1 YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network, so be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all the different podcasts as part of the network, including the flagship podcast, Guardian Radio. They broadcast every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at GuardiansofD and their YouTube channel, youtube.com/GuardiansofD. Other podcasts that are part of the Guardian Radio Network include previous episodes of TTL Party Chat and Robust Radio. There's also a podcast called Ghost and Echoes, which contains a bit of fan fiction and audio versions of the Grimoire cards found within Destiny. That's it for housekeeping. I'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much, Hollow River. Okay, this week I wanted to talk about how I have released myself from this monster that was sitting on my shoulders called the test weapons of the gunsmith. And this is something that's been, I don't know, at one point Bungie took away the awesomeness that was the Nightfall because they were afraid that people weren't wanting to do anything until they did that. And they didn't want that to be the dynamic. And that is what test weapons have become to me. Like I know that if I don't get those done, that I'm just going to be scrambling on Tuesday night to get them done. And it's not great. It doesn't feel great. And so I just recently, either last night or the day before yesterday, I just said, you know what? I'm not going to do these ones that take an extraordinary amount of time. And by extraordinary amount of time, I mean I might not get them done as quickly as others. Some of them I will always do. Specifically, like precision kills, those are super simple. I go right to Fist of Crota. They have like 30 thralls just waiting for you to just pop them right in a row. Pop, 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 pop. And so I will continue to do my test weapons, but it's interesting because I don't think I've gotten a single really good piece of gear from going around the rank. Every time you rank up, you get a package with a weapon in it, and I just haven't seen anything that's really that great. And so I just wanted to go around the table and see where everybody is with this, specifically Gray. How far along are you on each of your characters for the test weapons?
Yeah, so this is a little bit embarrassing. My primary hunter, I'm only at rank 2, and I'm only at rank 2 because that's what was required to get Steel Piercer. I don't like doing the test weapons. I find it to be a grind. I don't take much of any joy in it, and I never really have. So I haven't made it a priority. On my Warlock and on my Titan, they're both rank 0. And in terms of things to do in the game, I think that I'd have to get pretty desperate to move test weapons up on my list. And part of that is I don't I don't really feel very rewarded for the activity itself. You put a lot into it, and I don't know that you necessarily get a lot out of it.
Okay, so two things I want to say to you. The first being you need to get at least one of your characters to 3, because the first 3 levels unlock 3 different stat combos for weapons. So let's say that let's say that you had a weapon type that you wanted to get. Let's say that you wanted to be cool like me. You wanted to get that DIS. You wanted to get that DIS 47. You could go buy that from the gunsmith, and when he came back around the next week, you'd be able to choose from 3 different options, 3 different models instead of 2. So that is something that I highly recommend, just right off the bat for you. And the second one is, I think the reason I kept it so long with these test weapons is because it was very rewarding versus how long it took you to get around. It's 2,000 points, and each weapon you do is 250 points to that. So, it's a relatively low amount of effort for a guaranteed legendary weapon. And I'm curious to know if that has something to do with being a year 1 beaten guardian, where like even if you got a legendary engram, you still might only get a rare item. And so any possible way of getting legendary gear is something that I'm very interested in. And also, you guys in the chat, I would love to see where you guys are in this. So definitely get one of your characters to 3, and keep an eye on those. Keep an eye on the ones that he sells. I mean, 2,500 glimmer for a specific weapon that you can check every week, and he's got different rolls on. Like, I think that there's those 2 aspects there. You can buy weapons from him, and he will bring different rolls, which is really great. It's kind of a a much slower re-roll process. And having 3 of those to choose from, I don't know. I think that's really awesome. Moving on, Sharks. How far along are you on your characters on the test weapons?
I don't know how to answer that. What do you mean? How far along? What rank am I?
What are your ranks on each of your characters? Yeah.
On my hunter, I'm rank 6, ready to flip it to 7. On my Titan, I think it's the same, and I'm not sure on my warlock, but I'm not flipping them. They're just all sitting there. I'm completely over test weapons. I have had a package waiting for me on all of my characters for weeks and weeks and weeks now. So when the new stuff comes out in September, I might go and open that package and see if there's a new gun, and I will go and do one more gun to get my other package flipped too. But yeah, they're all 6 ready to flip over to 7. But I've been kind of done with test weapons for a long time. I'm just they don't do anything for me, so I'm not excited about them, which is a bummer because I thought I would be.
Yeah, I thought you would be too. I mean, specifically because you spend so much time in Destiny. I mean, what really is you going out to some place to farm percentage on these things? But I think this goes back to you didn't receive very much good feedback from the beginning on it, and so there you go. You just have better stuff to do. Agrios, where are you on all of your test weapon characters?
I have 20 total ranks between all my characters, and I haven't really been working on it very often lately. So I've been sitting there for quite a while, I should say.
So it's like 776 or something like this?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. And you just aren't feeling test weapons?
I mean, if I still got all my stuff done every week in Destiny, I'm sure it's something I'd take care of because it's very quick. I mean, I mean, excluding now they've screwed over the Crucible heavy test weapons and stuff. They're just not worth doing at all anymore. Some of the Crucibles just are difficult and annoying anyway because they're not really fun to play with in the Crucible. But at the very least, I would get the PvE weapons done every week if I were going and doing everything in Destiny every week. As it's now, I only really, I'm getting my Sterling packages every week. And, if any friends want to play, I play with them and whatnot. But that's about the extent of what I've been doing in Destiny.
Okay, so you brought up two things I wanted to say. So I have not been doing the Crucible weapons. I already have a pretty rough time coming out ahead in Crucible against many of the people that I face, and so I try and stick to weapons that I know or I like the feel of, and many of the test weapons are kind of shoddily put together. So
I know this goes against the general consensus, but I miss there being heavy more than once per round in 6v6 Crucible.
Yeah. I could get on board with that. Additionally, Sterling packages stack. So if you haven't logged in a while, you're gonna face quite a few. Flounder hasn't been on in a while, and so I logged in to see if I needed to start taking them out for her and putting them in her vault, and she had like 6 in there. So that's awesome. Thank you, Agrios. Jez, where are you with your test weapons, or with your gunsmith rank? Jez,
I hit the mute button and it did not unmute. So yeah, I hit rank 5 with my hunter, and just for I can't even think of what Ace of Spades. No, it wasn't Ace of Spades, was it?
For the hunter? Yeah, I think so.
No. For all classes, the rank 5 one is.
Oh, imprecation.
Yeah, the really bad gun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did that, and then I got my Titan and my Warlock to rank 3 for their exotic weapons.
Got it. Oh yeah, there's that too, Gray. I forgot about that. Rank 3 unlocks a class-specific exotic weapon. So you might want to put some time in for that. Oh, look at who is in the chat. Duba, thank you for joining us on episode 90 of the Guardian 1 podcast. Congratulations. Congratulations on your movie of the week. I myself had little to no worry that you were not going to get movie of the week. What you did in that video was fantastic. I love the way you set it up. You said that you do weekly Xur videos, but it wasn't like an advertisement. It was just a fact. And then you busted out this crazy rap. I'm not a huge fan of rap. Like, I'm a huge fan of good rap, like E40 or Eminem or Tech Nine. Like good rap, I will get behind 100%. But on the overall, I would much rather listen to rock or metal. And what you did in that video was outstanding. I loved everything about it, and I'm so happy that you got that, because you definitely deserved it. I started feeling bad because I don't usually get behind pieces of work like that, because other people are entering. And Daniel Out says he has not yet watched the movie of the week, and I find that hard to believe, just because it's fantastic on its own. Like, it went crazy on its own before, way before movie of the week. I should have written down how many views you had, because it was a pretty good number. but it's just fantastic. Like, going through all of the exotic weapons like that was really excellent. Yeah, your use of verse and the way you played with timing was really fantastic. So congratulations to you, because you earned it. You totally earned it. Oh, and like I was saying, like, I usually don't try and get behind any one person, because, there's other people who wanted to have their movie of the week as well. And I think about making videos that would be put in for this movie of the week, but I'm always afraid of the week that I submit for movie of the week will be the week I go up against something like this, something like you, Duba, because that would be sad. I would just cry in my Rice Krispies because how do you beat that? How do you beat that? It was outstanding, and the way you ended it was really perfect. You know, I try not to, in videos that I've made previously, I try not to say like or subscribe because I just feel like I am just asking for a handout. But I really like the way you handled it. The whole thing, start to finish, was fantastic, and you totally earned it. I want to throw this out to the rest of us right now. Gray, what did you think of that? What did you think of the movie of the week?
Yeah, so I'm not a rap guy, but I can appreciate talent when I see it, and I think anybody can watch that video of Duba's and see the talent, see the hard work behind it, and it's consistent. I went back and watched some of his exotic rap videos, and the Zur ones, I should say, not the exotic one, but they're just as good. So my public service announcement to all of our listeners out there, you got to go watch the movie of the week. You got to check out Duba's channel because it's solid. It's really good. He's got such a great tone in his voice for the verse that he's putting together, and the beat behind it is quality as well. So I think anybody's going to enjoy it. Go out, listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? This is an example because I did the same thing. I had heard of him before and I had seen his videos before, but I hadn't been following him on Twitter. I don't I try and, to give you an example, R Velvet J was like, hey, this was months ago, said, hey, here's my gamer tag. I'd love it if we could be friends. And I said, totally, man. I'm totally going to add you. This is going to be awesome. And I just added him yesterday. This is how harebrained / divided my attention is I can't even do things that I want to do. And so I didn't have a chance to look into anything else he had done. And after this video came out, I went back and checked out all of his other stuff. And it's like, this is an example of somebody who has just way too much talent, way too much talent. Like the way he goes through the inventory is fantastic. Like, how do you make Zur fun again? I remember when we were so excited about Zur. Every week we were like, oh man, I wonder what he's going to bring. I wonder, this is the only thing I have left to get. There was so much excitement, and now it's like, just, if you have been playing the game at all, Zur is such a lackluster experience at this point. And so he makes it fun again. I'm going to be watching every single one.
You know what I really love about what he did, though, is there's tons of Zur videos, right? I mean, everybody, content creator, seems to put out a Zur video. And rather than just putting out another Zur video like the other content creators, he put a spin on it that makes it unique, makes it creative, makes it something that I would want to watch over some of the other Zur videos that are pretty much just, here's what he's got and here's what you should do with it.
Right. Although those have a place for it as well. Okay, Daniel Outset is back. He says that was legit. Absolutely. And coming from somebody who works at Bungie, that's got to be an extra awesome experience, to have somebody put in that kind of love and attention into what they're doing, what you do. So that's excellent. Sharks, what did you think of the movie of the week?
Well, I mean, I tweeted it out the beginning of when I first saw it. It was like end of last week or over the weekend or whenever it was, because I thought it was badass. I don't just randomly tweet out junk. Yeah, it is awesome. I mean, everybody I know that plays Destiny or has any idea what Destiny is, I show them and they're like, oh, that's pretty sweet. And I go, yeah, he's using all the guns. It's really cool video. Yeah, and what's really funny is, like, when we were all talking about it early on, Remy had turned around and he's like, oh, that should be movie of the week. And I was sitting there thinking, yeah, it hadn't even dawned on me that might actually go to movie of the week, because so many people put out videos. But I was like, yeah, if he did it, it should win, because it's just it's just badass. So yeah, keep it coming.
It wasn't even just the rap either. Like, it was the video that went along with it. Like, it was the way he used the emotes, you know, him showing him shooting all these different ones.
Oh,
like,
heck yeah.
Like, the whole thing was
It's not
really...
like, yeah, it's not like throwing something together. You know, there's a lot of people that will put a video together and put a song on there, you know, make up their own song or whatever, but nothing really, you know, gels together. I mean, this is a legit video. And it's, what's really cool is a lot of the videos that have been movie of the week haven't really been really that great. Not really. This is like stepping it up for everybody else. So anybody else that wants to do a proper movie of the week, you've got a high bar now.
Right. And I mean, it still goes by week. You know, you could still have a slow week, but there have definitely been points in time where I thought, well, that wasn't, even against the other ones in the list, this was not movie of the week. And perhaps I didn't know all of the background on it. You know, maybe the circumstances that led to the video helped raise it to movie of the week status, or maybe it is just about who you know and how many times you have people go in there and press that like button. So I don't know. Agrios, what did you think about the movie of the week?
Well, as you know, I'm out, you know, roaming the deep wilderness, popping dregs and sending captains running for the hills, and I barely had a chance to get through the weekly update reading it before the show, let alone watch the movies of the week this week. But I'm super psyched based on your, you know, reviews to check it out. As you know, I'm pretty, you know, big on the community creations and promoting the movies of the week, and really enjoy checking those out. And this one sounds like a pretty good one.
Yeah, as a lover of things, as I recognize you to be, Agrios, you're really going to like it. It's really fantastically put together, start to finish, and on top of that, there's like attitude, there's like badassery in there. Daniel Out says, "Way to get around the how to say Mida argument." And that part specifically where because what it is, Agrios, is that he goes through all of the exotic weapons in one rap, in one video. And so when he gets to the Mida part, it was like, oh man, that's so badass. So badass. I can't wait for you to see it. Jez, what did you think of the movie of the week?
Well, I'm with you that I don't normally listen to rap, but I do very much enjoy well put together verses, so was a really good video.
Right, there's something about a quality craftsmanship that is undeniable. You know, like this is going to reach so many people because it's just really great. You know, this doesn't lean on the, well, I like rap and so I'm going to enjoy this rap video. This is, I like quality productions, and this is a quality production. I don't know. That's fantastic.
Things that transcend the medium are always, you know, that's your real end goal.
Right. Absolutely. That's why when Eminem came out, it was like, that's why he blew up so big. It's because he was really good at what he did. Crimson Warlock, what did you think of the movie of the week?
It was awesome. I definitely enjoyed it. I am definitely not a partaker of rap. It's not something that I enjoy, but this was awesome. It was great, and can't wait to see your Rise of Iron version.
Oh man, I agree. All right, so excellent job, Duba. Excellent work. He says that he also has some HUD-less cinematics. If you're curious, Tower Video and Lighthouse videos are fairly solid, called the Beauty of Destiny series. I bet it's going to be fantastic. So yeah, great job. Absolutely 100% earned. Like we were talking about earlier, it's sometimes the movie of the week is not necessarily the movie of the week in our eyes, and this was something that got the community riled. You know, you definitely struck a chord, and this is it. Like, if you weren't already famous to the community prior to this, you definitely are now. So congratulations, man. You way earned it. And I'm super looking forward to everything that you put out in the future. Okay.
And I'm jealous because you will now have an emblem that I do not have. So
one day, sharks. Okay, so we were at CrimZon Warlock. What is your gunsmith ranks on your characters?
I believe my Warlock's at 6. My Titan is at 3 because I got the exotic and didn't do anything else. And my Hunter is at 1.5.
1.5. Okay, so usually I like to go first on these things. I like to talk about this, but I had a feeling that this was going to be the way it rolled out. Let's see. Bobcat says he's ranked 23 on his Warlock. That's pretty outstanding. I had a feeling that this is the way it was going to be when it rolled out. So here are my 6 characters gunsmith ranks. 17, 17, 19, 19, 18, and 18. This is how much time. What's that?
I said, Remy, go home.
So this is how invested I've been in this. Like, the idea of getting a legendary weapon just for running around the rank once has really pulled me in. Like, I've been enjoying the relative quickness and how quickly it goes around. You know, like looking at the other ranks. Just in any of those other like a faction rank, it just doesn't go around as quickly as this does. Like, here's a test weapon. I've spent 5 minutes on it. Here's 250 rep in that rank, and so I just have really kept at it. But it's been detrimental for, I don't know. It's been detrimental for a while. Like, I will find myself spending like half hour, 45 minutes on one gun that is only going to give me 250 rep. I could have been doing anything else. And so I am no longer interested in doing the fallen captain sniper, no longer interested in doing the cabal, the guy with the wings. I forgot his name right now.
Wait, did you say you're not interested in doing the fallen captain with the sniper?
Yeah.
See,
why
that's
not?
one of the ones
That's
I
the
think is really
easiest
easy.
one.
Yeah,
That's one of the easiest ones.
No, it's not one of the easiest ones.
Okay, so
it is.
You like doing these
There's a
so much, you
farming
need
spot.
to let me take you out. Yeah, I can show you where you can get that one done quicker than almost any of the other guns.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I will be happy to check it out. I'll be happy to check
In
it
fact,
out.
you know what? Let me just it's easy to tell. I'll explain it in case there's any other listeners who have the same issue.
Do it.
When you start the game, your very first place you land on the Cosmodrome, you go left toward where you would go through the building to go to Skywatch. After you go through the Moth Yards up there at the top, right before you go in that building, there's a captain and two vandals hanging out right in front of that. Well, just to the right, over the cliff edge, there's a cave right underneath that same section with a captain. Just going far enough away to kill the captain up top or down into the cave to kill that captain is far enough away for the other one to spawn. And by the time you make it from one to the other to killing them, the other one will have spawned back.
Okay, this is exactly what I do. That is exactly my loop. And I've deemed that taking too long. Like, in comparison
I don't
to...
understand how you can say that takes too long when you're sitting there saying that, yeah, you spend a half an hour on another gun, but you won't do 2 minutes on that one.
No, but that's
ridiculous.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So there's a spectrum here. There's the ones that I can get done in like 30 seconds, and then there's the ones that take, any amount of time longer than 5 minutes. And so I've just chopped off all of these ones. Like, I'm not interested, because what ends up happening is because I have to do it 6 times, it adds up. And so
That's what we're saying, though, is that Captain Sniper one's one of the ones that takes well under like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I don't see it taking 2 minutes. Even okay, so this brings up a third point that I wanted to talk about, which always bothers me. Specifically when these weapons come out, those resources are being coveted. I hate when I go to moth yards and there's a dude up there, or I'm in the middle of running that loop and somebody comes along and starts taking those kills. Like, I don't want to fight people for these things. I don't want to be put in that position where I have to, okay, well, I guess I'll go back to orbit and try again. Like, I just want to move on with my life. You know, taking that out 6 times.
There is a trick.
I'm listening.
So if you want to be alone on patrol, all you need to do is go into your PlayStation clock and change it to manual setting and put it some other day and time, like years ago or whatever. And when you go to Destiny, it won't pair you with anybody else on patrol because it doesn't think you're at the same day and time. Now, eventually, after a certain amount of time of this, Destiny is going to be like, hey, there's something wrong with you, and kick you. At which point you have, re-log in. But, I mean, you have that whole time solo on patrol that no one can possibly mess with you.
That's interesting. I can't believe that it lets you, that it registers you at all. But yeah, so I'm just cutting out a bunch of these, at 6 times for each of these weapons. I want to cut it down to where I can go into Fist of Crota and just pop them out quick. Also, like the major, ultra, or higher rocket launcher. I used to carry that one around too. I just after 17, 17, 19, 19, 18, 18, this is a lot of time put into this. This is a serious amount of time. This is way more than all of your guys' added up. So it's like, I feel like I just need to move on, and I feel good about this. So I want to tell anybody out there who's stressing out about doing these things, don't do it. Like, I've not gotten a really good gun out of it, and maybe I will pick it back up when there's a new pool of weapons to choose from.
So Remy,
yeah.
Are you saying that all the rest of the panel were a little bit quicker on the draw to drop it before you?
Well, I guess if that's what you want to call quitters.
he's just
Or
calling
never
all the
started.
scrubs. Like, that's what he's calling it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. I'm saying I fought the good fight, and you guys were like, meh.
I'll finish my hunter one for my exotic, but I can't guarantee I'll go any further than that.
Right.
So am I supposed to do it or not do it?
Well, at least get to 3 so you can get that exotic weapon.
You kind of hit on a point when you're talking about other people stealing your kills. Probably what led me away from test weapons is it's not social. And I'm usually playing with people. But it's a hard activity to do as a group of people.
Well,
man, you know what?
You
just hit on the point right there, Gray. That's exactly why I was so drawn to test weapons, is it was something I could do while the craziness of my household was going on around me. That's a really good point. Like, I'm not usually. What's that?
Because you could just stop when you wanted to.
Right, I could just stop. I could just hit orbit. I didn't have to explain to anyone, hey, sorry guys, I have to go change a diaper. Like, it was something I could do that was pushing me forward up a rank, and it was something I could just keep going. What were you going to say, Agrios?
So something I would say, like, as far as Gray says, should I do them or not? If I were doing stuff in Destiny, solo in particular, I would definitely do the ones that can be done quickly. I feel like the end reward, that gun, which is leveled to your level, I might cut off at like 330 or something. I think
it does cut off at 330. Yeah.
Right. But it's still leveled at 330, which is pretty good to start with. I mean, that puts it in the still usable, not going to level you down. You could use it in any of the content right off the bat. And it is a role, it is a potential role for anything that the gunsmith can ever do. So it is guaranteed gun too. You're not going to get armor or anything from it. So it's kind of a more defined reward, which I like. So I do think if you pick the right ones to do efficiently, it is rewarding and worth doing if you're there doing things. And also, as far as the social aspect goes, just like on our show here, you can share tips with other people on how to get them done efficiently. And you can all be in the same group chat and cycle. So for instance, you could go take care of your captains and Hive on the Cosmodrome while I'm tagging my Vex on Venus and somebody else is doing something somewhere else, and then, switch off, so to speak. So you're not all in the same place at the same time, but you can still hang out with someone while you're getting the job done.
It's true. Very true. So there you go, Gray. At least a 3. But yeah, I really just saw this as a way of quickly getting a new roll on a weapon, and I have been let down on those rolls. Like seriously, nothing. And which at the very same time, the gunsmith is the reason I'm using the primary that I use now, because of the rolls that just came in once you buy one of those packages. So it's both ends.
So another way that I found myself using the test weapons when, I might not be so gung ho about making sure I get them all done every week, but I've been in the tower and had all my things together, and someone's like, oh, I need to switch characters, or I need to go take care of this or whatever. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to grab this test weapon. I'm going to go to Venus and knock out these Vex real quick while you're doing that. Just join on me when you're ready. So I've used it as a time filler while I'm waiting for other people to do that, organizational things that people have to do occasionally.
There it is. What do you think about that, Gray?
I think I got to get to rank 3, and then I will come back and tell you how much of a disappointment it was.
I mean, if you really want a disappointment, get to rank 5.
Yeah, what's this gun you get at rank 5? I haven't even heard of it.
What does it turn into? It's called imprecation at first, right? Is that what the final...
It turns into the first curse.
Oh, it turns into the first curse.
I knew it was related to Last Word, but it's like the PvE version of it. It is good for very specific situations.
Exactly. People do like it for where it excels a lot, but only in those specific places.
Okay.
The stats on it suck though. Like looking at it just right on its face, it looks like trash. A lot of people trashed it in the beginning, and I haven't picked mine up. I still have that little icon for it just sitting there.
I forget, what is its special ability? Do you recall, Jez?
I was looking for it. Let's see. It is... Wow. Pictures are loading very slowly. Precision kills while aiming down sights grants increased range and stability until the next reload.
Yeah, that doesn't seem very exotic.
Well,
Yeah, but,
what
wanna-
it is, it's an ad clearing hand cannon.
What were you going to say, Sharks?
Well, I just want to add this to the discussion in that, I don't, and this goes for everybody, not just Gray, but anybody that's listening. I don't think that we're saying don't go out and do stuff, because all of us have played so much Destiny that there are just parts that we don't want to do anymore, but we're not trying to influence people and say, oh no, you shouldn't do that. I truly believe that everybody should try everything in the game at least once and come up with your own idea, whether you like it or not. We get salty over things, and that kind of influences the way that we talk. Like Remy's done Gunsmith over and over and over again, and he's just kind of getting to the point where he's over it. That's like me. I've been doing the weekly PvPs over and over and over again, and I've gotten really, really salty with that, because all it gives me for the past 3 weeks on all 3 characters are strange coins. And if somebody had asked me today when I finished my last weekly, I would have said, hell no, don't do it. It's a waste of time. But really, we don't want to do that to any of the listeners out there. Everybody should go out and try all of this stuff. It might be exactly what you want to do. It might be that kind of de-stressing point of the day, going out there and just trying test weapons. So that's all I wanted to say.
So added up, all of you on this panel have done 61 rank. Like, all of you have 61 rank among you. Me by myself, I have 108 rank. So it's something that I've
really,
put a lot
who's
of time
the winner
into.
in this?
It depends. It depends on what you think is awesome.
That'd be sick because he has the most of something for once.
So yeah. So it's, I don't know. I
That's
have
awesome, Rebby.
I have freed myself. I have freed myself of this. Like if it's not simple to do, if it's not something I can just get done very quickly, I'm just going to pass on it. You know what it is I just don't have a lot of time. God, I hate saying this every single freaking podcast. I'm always saying I don't have a lot of time to play Destiny, but it's a fact, and it's something that plays
realistic.
It is. It's realistic.
Perspective,
And so I don't have a lot of time, and so when I end up spending too much time on these test weapons, and then I don't get anything good out of it. Like here's 3 marks. You went around this rank for 3 marks. It's just really frustrating. And it's really sad because it could be anything. It could be anything, but more often than not, it's not a gun that I'm excited about. More often than not, it's definitely not a good roll.
I think you hit on something about why you've tolerated it so long, so to speak, is because of the way you've been beaten as a year 1 Guardian. I mean, think of how many times back when, Vault of Glass was tough, when we were lower levels, that, we pounded our way through Vault of Glass only to come out with nothing but a couple of shards, more in our inventories at the end.
Right. So, absolutely.
I mean, compared to that, I mean, the loot cave, people talk about it like, oh, the loot cave. And people hear the terms loot cave and it was banned. There's a memorial there for it. If you put that loot cave right there, right now in the game, people would think it was a joke. Like, this is a waste of time. I'm not shooting all these things for all these blues and a couple purples that are going to turn into blues.
Right.
Excuse me. People thought it was a joke when it was going on. Remember, it was pretty bad.
To a degree, I don't know. It was still one of the best ways to get materials and crap like that in the game.
And not only that, it was one of the most. It was one of the activities that I saw that naturally banded together Guardians. Like nowadays, when you run patrol, you'll see Guardians, and they will at some point fight for the same thing. Like when a public event shows up, or when the Taken show up, you band together. But I've never seen something like the loot cave.
Its birth was a magical thing.
Like I remember when it first came out, and I remember not wanting to know where it was because I didn't want that to be what I did. I didn't want to go to this magical loot cave and just shoot into this hole and get all these engrams. I wanted to do it the right way. I didn't want that to be on my service record. Spent several hours at the loot cave, and then one day I just happened upon it. Like I just happened to be in Skywatch, and I noticed there was 5 Guardians over by this rock, and it just was the most solidly public and unified I've ever seen Guardians. Like it felt okay. Well, what's going on over here? And I walked over to them, and that's what they were doing. Is they're shooting that loot cave. And so I don't know. I probably spent an hour total doing it, because once I got there, I wanted to do it too. Like all these guys were hanging out and shooting into this cave. But yeah,
finding the loot cave was really fun. I had the fortune of not even ever having heard of the loot cave when I was first discovered it. I discovered it because I was farming for chests or spin metal or something like that, and was going up to Skywatch. Skywatch is where I would farm spin metal early in the day. And, when you needed to farm these things for stuff. And I started getting shot in the back of the head. Like, why am I getting shot? These people start shooting me. I look over, and there's like 5 Guardians standing around. They're all shooting me. As soon as I look over that way, they all start dancing.
Because you got too close.
What are these weirdos doing? I continue about my business, start getting shot in the back of the head again. I'm like, what are they doing? They all start dancing. They all start shooting the ground right in front of them, like making a big line on the ground in front of them. So I walk over to him all curious. And as soon as I get over there, I'm like behind them, the loot cave starts back up because I'm out of the zone that was keeping them from spawning, and they all go to town on them. So I'm like, all right. So I start shooting them. And as soon as someone new comes along, the same thing happened to them. And if they crept up too far, like someone's like, oh, I'm going to go over here and crouch behind this rock and do it. But they were past the line. Everybody started shooting them. It was just a wondrous thing how it just organically happened. No one talking to anything, everybody dancing and shooting at things.
That's what I'm saying. It was way organic. There was way like this community effort that was unspoken, and you just did it, and it drew a lot of people. Like this is something that I think Bungie needs to work on tapping into, is something that draws a lot of people. You know, maybe because there was only that one loot cave, there was only that one big loot cave in the beginning. You know, like here is the cave that has the fastest spawns. And so that's what it came out of. I think if you chose one area in a patrol where you could have something like that again, where you drew in a lot of people. Like I can't imagine what it would be right this second, but it was really.
Do you think they tried to do something like that with Court of Oryx?
Yes. And I think I was going to say some of the puzzles in the Dreadnought as well, like some of the ones that require more team effort-y type sorts of things. I think they were going that direction, but I don't think they really nailed it on the head with any of them. The Court of Oryx was definitely, I think their mindset was going at that angle, though, like the loot cave, yes.
Do you guys have any ideas of what they could do to tweak Court to make it have that same kind of organic feeling that would draw in Guardians to
I think there needs to be a more puzzle aspect to things. I think that just by nature, like the way you had to stand and the way you had to shoot to make the loot cave like kind of function properly, like kind of just required that sort of teamwork. And I think I don't know. I think that's the part of it. It's not so much the being able to stay in one place and kill things over and over again that really like got people's attention in the beginning, but it was just this sort of naturally coordinated effort and getting the people who had no idea why they were supposed to be there. I guess that's it. The Court of Oryx, you know why you're supposed to be there. There's no Guardians going to wander across the Court of Oryx and just not understand why they're there to a degree. So, like, I think it would have to be something that would almost be more secret in patrol, and like people would have to organically discover it. It shouldn't be pointed out, and then they have to get the attention of other people. Like, hey, look at this. If you do this, this happens. And I think that's kind of where the magic goes. It's almost hard to describe. I can't blame someone who's trying to, capture that again for not being able to.
I kind of want to go in the
take one
opposite
thing.
direction. I would want them
Go
to
on,
have
Jess.
like a giant front where there are some NPC guardians keeping like enemies at bay, and you can join them.
I definitely would like to see some interactive NPCs in battle situations for certain. I always found those parts of games interesting, and I would like to see some of that in Destiny. I would like to see life in the wild on our side, period.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, at all, see, like, any sort of NPCs or
Something you don't have to kill in the
scene
wild.
or anything like that, something occurring like that in the wild, anything other than enemies.
So, like, what you're saying is like playing The Division. I saw a dog take a crap. Is this the kind of interaction?
No.
that you're
Okay, like
hoping
in
for?
the Division, you'll find JTF agents like in the middle of a battle with cleaners or whatever. But you're never going to find just some other random NPC Vanguard Guardians fighting some Fallen somewhere, or some of the Queen's Guard from the Reef fighting some Fallen somewhere, or fighting some Vex somewhere.
I want to see a drag taking a crap.
Well, yeah, I do want to see that, but I'm not going to lie. That's not what I was talking about right there.
That's great. And the podcast has hit a new low.
What kind of crap do you think a dreg would take?
All right, moving on.
No, see, there's where it hit the new low.
So I wanted to talk about something that I've been thinking a lot about recently. Nightfalls used to be really, really awesome. Nightfalls used to be something that you really had to dig deep to earn, or it had to be something where you were able to find like the cheap spot. And I think by cheap spot I also mean like hiding spot, because in year one, Nightfalls were this thing where if all of your team members died, you went back to orbit, and I don't know. I missed that. I feel like I really missed that. And I'd been thinking about it just recently that it's I'd really like to see that again. Just because I don't know, it added a sense of real danger. There was, and this was also before you could just call weapons and armor from your vault or from other guardians. It was just whatever you had on you was what you had to go by. And I feel like there was this real sense of awesomeness in there. Sharks, do you miss year one Nightfalls? Because mostly I did Nightfalls with you and Agrios, and it was something that we would go in and, we'd really have to dig deep. We really found where we fit in that 3-man fire team going through those things, like there was you and Agrios on point, and I would hang back and revive you guys when you inevitably got blown to smithereens by whatever burn was there. And so, but there was a real sense of urgency. There was a real sense of accomplishment / like now, oh, we all wiped, we're going back to that.
And we were good. We rarely got kicked to orbit, but now it doesn't even matter. You can just use it strategically. So it takes that out of it. I agree.
Right. Yeah. So Sharks, do you miss year one Nightfalls?
Okay, so this is like a 2-part answer. I miss the rewards for year one Nightfall. And because we don't have the rewards like we did in year one, no, I don't care. Nightfalls are pointless and they're not exciting, but I'm glad that we don't get kicked to orbit and have to grind and work our asses off because we're getting crap for loot. And that just ruined it for me. If we had the loot system that we did for Nightfalls now with, the loot system from year one, then I would say yes, go back to having it be hard, because then it was awesome. Like you say, it was badass, but that you have to have the loot. And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier too, is that it's always about the loot. We don't have the loot problems that we did in year one. So having, people go to Court of Oryx and stuff like that, it's not as exciting because we're not in search of some specific kind of loot or something like that. And so you're just not going to get it. They would have to do something with the loot system first before implementing all these different things that we're talking about.
Okay,
I miss the old days.
Something I think would happen, it would help a lot with the loot situation, and it would make it not all about the loot. It would be, I mentioned this before, is if they had something more like a medal system involved, like on top of everything else. And it would simply be accolades you could earn. And, like I said, it could even go so far as, Iron Banner 1, Iron Banner 2 participation. There's no way for you to go back and get, Iron Banner 1 participation reward if you've never if you didn't actually participate in it. So you could get these medals on, a sort of a time basis too. So every week that you complete a Nightfall, you could get an additional one, but only one per week. So how many Nightfall medals you have would show how many weeks you successfully completed a Nightfall. That would just be like a basic one. But then if they also, and I understand Bungie is pushing this a little bit more, if they had something more public with leaderboards type stuff, you could see, quickest people to complete a Nightfall. Least damage taken during a Nightfall, most damage dealt during a Nightfall. If people could earn medals and public displays of these sorts of accolades, I think people would be more apt to do things and have more fun doing them, regardless of the loot involved.
I like your PDA, public display of accolades. Okay, so both of you bring up really great points. So Sharks, the idea that we would be sent back to orbit for the rewards that we're getting now is a joke. I do remember I do remember getting bad drops from Nightfalls, but nothing on the level that they are now. Like right now, it really feels like Bungie doesn't want us to play Nightfalls. Like I feel like Bungie is doing everything in its power to stop us from even thinking about doing Nightfall. Number one, it no longer gives you a buff throughout the week. It no longer makes your head of your character glow or like have that little shine when you're in the tower. Like it and the drops are just horrendous. The idea that you could get as a 334 character that you could get a under 330 ghost is like, it's a joke. Like, why did I do this? Why did I spend this time? I could have spent my time doing basically absolutely anything.
There are a lot of good rewards in the pool, but there are so many lackluster ones like that you're right. That it makes it such a disheartening thing to like half the time get one of those lackluster rewards.
And you know what? Well, I'm not even one of those people who's saddened by a horn kit. I'll take a horn kit.
I think that's awesome. I mean, I tweeted that out. My last Nightfall, I got a Sparrow racing kit. So I got a Sparrow that I didn't have. Awesome. People might have thought, oh, because I also had an exotic. But I was like, I don't care about the exotic. The exotic's garbage to me. That Sparrow kit though, that's awesome. And that's something that they could have in there. Things that cost money. Well, they're not going to cost you anything because you can go out and you can do a hard Nightfall. I mean, if you were guaranteed to get stuff like that, people would play it a lot more, I think.
I do Absolutely. Feel like anything that would have rolled under your light level should roll at your light level. I don't really feel like for events like Nightfalls, anything should roll under your under your light level. That just doesn't seem right. So I think anything that would have rolled under your light level should just roll at your light level. And if it's above your light level, bonus. But at very least, you should get a new roll on a light level on a new item at your light level for a Nightfall.
Jez. And then I wanted to also address Agrios. You said a medal system. I know that you've brought this up for other aspects before, but I think that this right here speaks to what it is that I want as a player. I play often enough to where when I get certain drops, I'm just as disappointed as the people who play it for hundreds of hours more than me. So I'm on that side where, this ghost doesn't necessarily do anything for me. This weapon's got a horrible roll and its light level is trash. Like I'm at the point where what I'd really like is something that doesn't really have a use in game other than this show of having participated, that this medal system that you continue to bring up for different activities is exactly what I want in game. It would be something that is it's like a really good pat on the back. It's like a hearty handshake and a good job. Like that's what I want out of this. Like I don't want something that I'm just instantly going to trash and then I have nothing to show for the time and effort I just put into it. And I think that this needs to be an angle that Bungie looks at specifically and particularly for people who've gone past a certain point in the game. Like if you're close enough to the highest light level, if you're not going to give me something that has at least a higher light level than what I'm currently using, then I need something that doesn't have any actual value. I need something that's going to be for me, and the idea of, like you're saying, you did this week, here's your participation for this. You can't go back and get these other participations. This appeals to me. I really like this level, and I hope that we remember to take the time to flesh this idea out as the podcast goes forward, because we've got lots of time to talk about it before Destiny's in its final form. Jez, did you play much Nightfalls in year 1, and do you play any Nightfalls in year 2? What do you think about those things?
Year 1 was interesting because that was a time when you were it was quite often Civics Prime, so you were most often in that little gully fighting those 3 waves. That was the only real hard part, and then standing super far back for the what's it called? The Devil Walker. So it was very, very not, I don't want to say calculated, but it was very slow.
Yeah.
And the problem with the Nightfall at that time was you couldn't do fun things. You couldn't be like, hey guys, look at this. I'm gonna go knee punch Sepix. It was not a thing you did, because you would just die, and then you would be just a detriment to your team, because then they couldn't get you back up. And if they wiped, you guys were pretty much screwed.
Right back to orbit. Okay.
So that was the problem with it. However, the difficulty was fun. It was more interesting to be able to go through it, not like a normal strike. However, once you started to get gear, it felt more like a regular strike, but that's more of probably what it should have been anyways.
Okay, so I think that you just spelled out exactly what we're looking for here. So what we've said is that the loot as it stands is crap for the activity, but also it took out a lot of that fun. You're right. You could not go up and punch Sepix without getting blasted, and then who's going to save you? You're out in the middle of there. It would take somebody, somebody with real guts to go out there and try and raise you, because once that person's down, you either finished the match yourself or you went back to orbit. So what if there was different levels? What if each Nightfall came with specifically, okay, here's the going back to orbit Nightfall with some really great rewards, or here's just the regular Nightfall with whatever shoddy rewards, but you're not going to go back to orbit. It's something fun that you can do still in that same slot. What were you going to say?
So that's why blade dancers are actually used in PvEs, because they were the only ones that could go invisible and res in the middle of nowhere.
Absolutely.
I want them to take it up an even further notch. Mega Nightfall, that if you try and fail, it's locked out for the week.
Oh man, that sounds excellent.
Some other games are doing stuff like that too.
Okay, so we have 3 levels now. We have the run up and punch Sepix level, not going back to orbit. We have the don't run up and punch Sepix level. Better gear will go back to orbit. And then we have the hardcore. If you fail, you are just locked out. If you don't fail, you get some sweet rewards.
I want to throw a little bit more challenge onto it. Once you land, you cannot change your weapons nor your subclass.
I like it. I like that a lot.
Basically, your strategy is done in orbit.
No, that sounds great. I really like that a lot. I like the idea of being locked in. That would pull out a lot of strategy, especially on times where it was like match game, where each of you could either focus on a specific element, each of you, like, oh, I'm gonna load up all arc or whatever, or each of you rotate through heavy weapons and special weapons. Like, that sounds really excellent. I like that a lot, Jez. Any more bright ideas?
Well, I want
to
add kind of to it a little bit, just because, Jez, that's a great idea. That is fantastic. What if, building on what Agrios said, you had these medal systems? And the way that I kind of see it is, what if you beat the Nightfall, you got an emblem, but it only stayed in your inventory for that week. After at reset, you lose the emblem, and the emblem could have a mark on it, either 1, 2, or 3, based on how difficult of a Nightfall you actually completed. So you get to wear it kind of like a badge of honor, at least until the reset happens.
Oh my God! What if?
Well, we used to have a badge of honor. It was a glowing head.
I was gonna say, what if the super hard Nightfall gave you a red glowing head?
What if the emblem you get doesn't disappear from your inventory that week, but it just adds a notch to it? So, like, you have this emblem that every time you complete a Nightfall, it adds a little notch to it. Like it's like something that you can wear that shows that you are building up that character. That would be cool.
So this is something along the lines of this idea too, and I wanted to bring it up anyway. So I think this would kind of fit together with what we're talking about right now. Is one of the reasons Bungie said they did away with the buff. Well, Let me correct this too. They didn't really do away with the buff. They actually gave the buff to us all permanently. We just don't have a flaming head. Because at that point, when they discontinued that, they also raised the rep for gains to accommodate for the fact that we couldn't get that anymore. So they sped all that up. But one of the reasons they said it is continued is because they didn't want people to feel like they had to do the Nightfall first so that we get the buff that would affect the rest of the activities they're doing for that week. Well, what if the buff affected you the following week? Like you completed the Nightfall this week to be able to earn the buff for next week. And your Nightfall gave you the buff for the following week each time. That way, getting your Nightfall done earlier or later in that week has no effect on that week, so it doesn't matter. It's just whether or not you got it done so that you have the buff for next week.
I like that. That's a good idea.
The flaming head or even like the emblem you're talking about, you could have that emblem the whole next week then or something like that. They could even line it all up. It shows, what you accomplished in last week's.
I like that a lot.
Not gonna lie, we probably would be happy if it just gave you the flaming skull and no buff.
True. I did enjoy that a lot. That was, and not only that, but that lets you know where you were on that character. And additionally, while it might have seemed like it was keeping some people from doing activities, I feel like once the Nightfall stopped having legitimacy, both in terms of no buff with points, no buff with visual flair, and also crap rewards, like our group fell apart. Like I remember we used to every Tuesday morning, we would get together to do our Nightfalls, like right off the bat. As soon as it dropped, we were in the orbit, we were ready to go, and we got those things done. And as soon as Nightfalls lost its urgency, our group fell apart.
I think that was a little bit coincidental with our scheduling on top of that, because we could also be doing the raid at that time, and we're not still doing that. So
totally, but it was a 3-man activity. It was something like we were already playing. You're right. Scheduling did change, but it didn't help that all of a sudden this one activity that we had that we were always doing on this day, it fell by the wayside.
So I never saw this flaming head. I never got to earn this flaming head. Why did Destiny or Bungie remove it? Why did they get rid of it?
It was just because the flaming head was also the buff. The flaming head represented the buff you got, and the buff was to all your reputation gains from that point on for the rest of the week till reset. Well, they said people were avoiding doing anything else that earned them rep until they could get together with their friends that could do the Nightfall with them. And it wasn't a match-made activity, so they had to wait till they could schedule with their friends to do it. And they didn't want people to hold off doing all this crap trying to get their Nightfall done first during the week. That wasn't their intention. So they removed the buff, and so they just built it into everybody's reputation gains so that you were still going to gain as much or more reputation than you gained previously when you had the buff. And they just didn't take into account the people's love of the flaming head. So let me say this now. I'll be the first to say this. The community has made quite an uproar about liking that flaming head. And regardless of what happens with the future of buffs and Nightfalls and things, I would be extremely surprised to not see Bungie return that with Rise of Iron, to be honest.
That would be cool. Crimson Warlock, Nightfalls then, Nightfalls now. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't have much to add other than I stopped doing Nightfalls when they decided to implement strange coins as your reward, and I got like 30 strange coins in 2 weeks. I think I got like 11 and then 13. And I was like, how is that a reward for the hardest content in the game that you can do in a lot of ways?
Like, this was also after they removed burns and made it even harder.
The other, like, the main thing with Nightfall, with gear and everything in Destiny right now is that Destiny is a shooter that's trying to be an MMO and it just doesn't know how to yet. You know, they're doing better. They're trying to figure out that loot, but it's just not rewarding enough for people. And the rewards that you do get they become irrelevant too quickly. You know, that blues nowadays. You get a blue, and unless it's from an end game activity, there's no way it's going to be an upgrade for you in any way, shape, or form. But you do an end game activity, and it's still not. Like, I mean, the light level's better, but there's still a lot they need to do to that system to make rewards relevant, and they need to find a way to make the grind to max level longer, so that you feel more rewarded as you tick up each light level. Like that's the main thing. I feel like it's just too easy for those people who are prepared to hit the caps that they can, and then a lot of loot just becomes irrelevant, so there's no point in playing the game anymore.
Yeah, and that's sad, and that sucks. Okay, time to move on. I do miss that flaming head. It really did let you know where you were for that week. You know, you look at your character, you look at other people's characters too. That was another thing. It was being able to go into the tower and see these people's heads with this glowing crap all around it, and you would know that they had done the nightfall. That gave you an idea. I don't know. I just miss it. And I like all of the ideas that you guys threw out. I really appreciate your hard-earned thoughts. Really, this all sounds, great. The better loot system, a medal system. I like levels. I really like the idea of, cranking up the difficulty, bringing back optionally the return to orbit, and even, like you were saying, Jez, crank it up even more. If you fail, it's locked out for the week. Oh man, that's you could.
I know Hitman, the new Hitman game is doing that, and it seems the community is quite taken with it, because you only get one shot of that, so people are really talking it out and gearing up ahead of time. Oh,
and then additionally, not being able to change your loadout. Like, man, that just sounds like that. That sounds like fun.
That's just cruel.
Oftentimes when I think about,
I think it might be in a different class of ideology with hardness, I guess.
No, every time I think about what would be fun in Destiny, it's something that's taking options away. Like
but this is funny that you guys are all gun ho on that when we have talked about playing PvP matches the same way, and everybody throws their arms up and says no.
Who? Not me.
People in this chat have. In fact, I know one of them, Agrios, I know has had issues with that in PvP, and I think it's a really neat idea for both PvE or PvP, having set you can't change your guns.
Oh, yeah, I don't like not being able to flip your guns. I mean, I thought you meant at first having a PvP match where you were required to only pick from a particular set of guns, like everybody's using the same sniper and the same shotgun. Because I would be up for a mode like that. But I don't like not being able to switch from your sniper to your shotgun to your fusion rifle at any point during the match, alive or dead, start to finish. No, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, but you guys are saying with Jez's idea for PvE match doing that. So those people that don't like it in PvP, you would think they wouldn't like it in PvE. I mean, I would be down for it. I think that would be a really neat challenge in both instances. But I'm just wondering what people are thinking.
See, I like it for PvE personally. I feel differently about it than I do for PvE and PvP. I want to adapt because I don't know how the other team's going to play in PvP. Whereas in PvE, I know what strike I'm going into. It's up to me to plan the best secondary for me to use and be locked into. I'm okay with that. It sounds fun.
Well, and not only that, but like going into a PvE match, like into a strike or something, you kind of already know what to expect. Also, you're not necessarily having to switch it up. Going into PvP, you could, we could say, okay, well, let's plan for this, and then if we get hit with a wall of snipers and we realize that we have too many people have shotguns, we're going to have to go snipers. Like in PvP, there's much more of a need to respond to the type of threat. If we went into, like let's say that Sepix Prime, we would know that what we would need prior to. It would be, it's like a known variable.
You know what?
Go on.
We're getting off track a little bit, but I think the way I could accept like Shark's idea there is if there were a certain number of roles per team, and once they were selected, they were used up. Like there's 2 snipers, 2 shotguns, and 2 fusion rifle users per team. And you had to pick your role. And once the role's selected, it's filled up. But that way the teams are still evened out. There'd be less need for being adaptive at that point.
I mean, you could also opt for a selection system, kind of like MOBAs, where you can see what the other team is selecting while you're selecting.
As long as they forced your team into selecting the right assortment of roles so that you can't end up with all snipers versus all shotguns because people are dumb, then okay.
Okay, so let's end this conversation right now because I want to talk about this on a future show about loadouts, like predetermined loadouts, or like even a specific set of weapons and armor that you have to choose from, like where you would go to your faction of choice, and it would, or even just let's just say the Crucible vendor, you'd have to go to the Crucible vendor and go to this specific uniform. Like here is the sniper rifle that everybody on the map will be using. Here is the hand cannon. Like if someone's using a hand cannon, it will be this specific hand cannon. Right,
like Crucible vendor only matches, basically. It won't let you start the match if you don't have Crucible vendor weapons loaded. And when you're in the match, all the weapons that aren't Crucible vendor weapons will be grayed out. Same with armor.
Yeah. And that really appeals to me. But so this is something that I want you guys to think about. Think about in terms of stripping away all of the variables in a match and having it go back to like a skill-based, like a specifically skill-based. So like no.
You mean like Arsenal?
Well, I guess that's yet to be seen.
Yep.
Additionally,
come on, gun game.
What's that?
We need gun game. Seriously.
Gun game? What is that?
Well, like where whenever you get a kill, it switches a weapon to something different. Usually, each kill gives you a harder to kill with weapon. Eventually, you have to kill with a melee.
That sounds pretty cool.
So,
I like that a lot.
It just needs to be like you elect, here's this gun is in the rotation. And then some asshole's gonna elect, here's Necrochasm.
I was thinking of almost a different kind of opposite game mode where the game starts out and all you have is a primary. You have no secondary, no heavy, no armor, and it's an elimination match. And the winners get like white armor after that, and increases their light level, and its light level matters. And after like losing a couple rounds, there's a kind of a catch up for the people who are falling behind light wise, but it's kind of a race to who can get up to legendary gear first to win the first 10 matches, and it's an elimination style.
Yeah, that sounds
so
great.
each round gives you better weapons. You go white gear, green gear, blue gear, legendary.
But that version encourages steamrolling.
It does. It does. I mean, there'd have to be ways to catch up, or ways for the underdog to undermine the advantage that the other team has. But kind of a progressive battle like that, I think, would be a fun match mode to have as well.
All right. Definitely want to talk further about all this in another show. So let us move on to something else. Let me check my notes real quick and make sure there wasn't anything else I wanted to make sure to include in this episode. Nope, that looks good. So, Agrios, were you ready to do the news?
There was news?
Crack open your Playboy.
all the Destiny.
Well, I
all
didn't
the
know it was that
Destiny
kind of
news.
podcast. Oh wait, it's not.
Okay, what do you got for us, Gray?
I mean, I can do just kind of a little overview. I did play a lot of Destiny this past week, and probably the highlight was getting to run trials again after taking a week off. I think that Bungie seemed to do a pretty good job fixing whatever was broken the prior week. We didn't get kicked out of any matches. We didn't drop any matches or anything like that. Bobcat, who's in the chat, and River and I, we ran pretty hard on Saturday, and then Lawn Boy and River and I, we ran Monday, and it was good. The map was a little bit tough because it's got the doors that are always open and closing, so it's pretty much just a snipe fest. So excited the trials was back. The map made it a little bit. Your strategy was pretty much one-sided. But it was still a blast. I don't know. Did you guys do any trials this weekend?
I did no trials. No one did trials but you.
I was kind of thinking I might be the only one. Sharks, man, we gotta figure out something so we can do trials together. But I think I'll have to get a PS4 before crossplay happens. So.
I'm curious. I want to throw this to everybody, including Gray, obviously, because he's played PvP. Have the rest of you played PvP this week?
Yeah, I've played quite a bit of. I've played quite a bit of Iron Banner. Enjoying Iron Banner.
Jez,
I got a couple more wins in my quest to the mountain.
Yeah, I'm playing Iron Banner this week.
Okay, so this is what I want to ask everybody. Have any of you noticed a difference in how guns are hitting people as far as damaging people?
It seems that way to me. I don't know. It didn't seem to be hitting them as hard.
Anybody else?
I think so too. I think my time to kill has decreased across the board, and I thought it was just me. I thought I was getting worse.
Yeah, no, I especially noticed it at the beginning of the week. I can't really talk about what happened today because today I wanted to take my controller and throw it out the window. I couldn't. If you had put a barn in front of me, I wouldn't have been able to hit the barn. But when I was actually hitting people, damage is way down, and I wonder if it's a nerf. A nerf that they've put in there on purpose, kind of like a stealth nerf, just not told people. And if it is, I think it's great because there have been lots and lots of people that work at Bungie that have said this over and over and over again. Even just recently on some other podcasts that they are always talking about kind of slowing down the game of Destiny. You know, they don't want it to be these, you know, one hit kill kind of game. I
feel like it's affecting the range somehow.
I don't know. I don't know if it's the range or if I think it's just damage overall. I mean, I'm literally I haven't changed. From my. But I
feel like with my guns that aren't longer range, that it seems to be hitting them more on the distance shots. Like for example, my Soul Stealer's Claw, like the Doctrine of Passing type auto rifle. I feel like it's doing less damage, but I feel like it's not only that, but it's doing less damage like less damage farther away quicker. It's like it's falling off quicker.
Maybe. I mean, maybe that's how they've done it. I don't know, but I just know I've really, really noticed it, and I said something to Remy the other night when we were playing. I've said it to Guru Fu. I've said it to a few people. Actually, I think I had even brought it up to K-Dub when we were playing today. You know, you're definitely having to shoot people more, hit them more, and it's causing longer gun battles. And if this is a stealth nerf, and it's not just me imagining it, and obviously it's not with other people, people noticing it, even people in the chat, that good on Bungie. They're doing things, tweaking the game, possibly for the better.
See, I was playing on a different person's PlayStation with a different connection and everything, and I thought
that's what it was.
Yeah, I thought it was just me. I thought maybe I was just lagging ever so slightly, and not all my bullets were connecting or something, is what it felt like. But
what if it's not a nerf? What if it's a buff of the shields and health?
Well, either way, I mean, whether it's extra shielding and we're noticing it, or if it's less damage from the guns, either way, I think it's a step in the right direction. I always kind of fall back on this when we're talking about PvP, and I fall back on Call of Duty, and that's one thing I really, really hated about Call of Duty was that it's literally it's running around as fast as you can and killing people instantly. And I hated that. And then when I started playing Destiny, back in the alpha and in the beta, when we were able to go in there and try this out, it was like, oh, this is a lot. The pace seems a lot better. But over time, over the last 2 years of the game, it seemed to have picked up a bit, and now it's kind of dropping back again.
So I want to disagree with Engages right now, and the only reason I want to disagree is because everyone and their dog has that stupid scout rifle, and they all have explosive rounds, and it's like 2 shots. No matter how close they are, you're dead.
Scout
and that's what's frustrating.
About the
Iron Banner one, yeah. Like, everyone has it, and they all have explosive rounds on it. And the extra damage from explosive rounds, I get 2 shot from that thing all the time. And it's so frustrating because it's like, sniper rifle range, 2 shots still. And I feel like because it's so like popular right now, it's inundated in everyone's arsenal, like, that's just what everyone uses, and the time to kill is just super high with it, and that's what's frustrating to me right now is how many times I've died. What was that?
Can that one roll full auto?
It sounds like a slow one, which can't run full auto.
No, it can't run full auto, but it can get max range and explosive rounds on it.
I'm looking forward to checking that out. Sounds exciting.
It's a slower Mida that deals just as much, if not a sliver more damage with the explosive rounds. Like if you get those perfect rolls that a lot of people seem to be getting.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've been enjoying Iron Banner. I've been actually it's interesting. The dynamic in my house has changed recently, and so I've found a chunk of time where I'm able to focus solely on Destiny, and it's weird right now because it's still in the very beginning phase where it's almost like I don't believe that it's real. Like I'm just waiting for my life to go back to what it was, which was 24/7, constantly hands-on, worried about somebody else. But I'm looking at a lot more opportunities. I want to do like a trials day. I want to do like a raid day. I want to do like an old raid day. Like I still need my Mythoclast. I want the Mythoclast so bad. I need it on both systems. I still have. I mean, next week at this time is going to be Bungie Day. Next week today is going to be Bungie Day, and so we will see exactly what the things are for the year 2 triumphs. I think we already know what they are. I think that those were already data mined. They all sound legit. And so I'm excited. I'm excited about, really, really taking the feedback that I get from things like this Crucible. I feel like I'm doing less damage, like Sharks was saying, but I don't feel like I'm getting less damage put on me. So I don't know. I don't.
I'm curious. What primaries is everybody running? Like, what's your go-to primary for PvP right now, everybody?
Okay, Gray.
I am. Oh, this is terrible. I'm using Universal Remote. I apologize, but I love it.
Wow, you're fired.
Oh, come on. When I don't, there was actually a good discussion on Crucible Radio about this kind of thing. Hey, it's a tool in the game. It's fun to use. Just because you don't like it and killed by it, it doesn't mean anything.
I'm all for it.
It's because a remote is a tool.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Gray.
You're fired. Shark.
Okay, but when you don't use Universal Remote, what do you use, Gray?
I use my Doctrine.
All right.
Of course you do.
But because of our
Do you have a
talk last
counterbalance
week,
or not?
yeah, it has counterbalance.
Okay.
After last week's discussion, though, I've been using Nerwin's Mercy, the one that was the vendor role quite a while ago, one of the first Iron Banners in year 2, and I've been having some of my best matches, 3.0 plus KDs using Nerwin's Mercy.
It's so smooth. What site are you using on it?
The top node.
Okay.
Or is that the red dot? I think it's the red dot.
Yeah, red dot. And what stability bonus are you using?
Whatever maxed it out. I was going max stability.
That's what I was running too. Just curious. Yeah, that's a great weapon.
Am I back on the show, Remy? Am I back on the show?
No, you're still fired. I mean, I expect you to stay there and continue to talk about Destiny, but you're fired. Here and talk about Universal Remote and then Doctrine of Passing. You are that guy. Next, you'll be telling me you're a Titan, shoulder charging Titan.
No, I hate those guys.
Sharks, what is your go-to primary in PvP?
My go-to primary is the LDR 5001. No, I'm just kidding. Final Duty. Yeah, I know. It was a bad joke. Final Duty.
Final Duty, really?
Yeah,
what is your role?
Basically,
Pulse?
Yeah, it's the Pulse. It's basically her Mercy. It's the same gun as the Iron Banner gun. I have Outlaw and Glass Half Full and hand loaded. So it's extended range, dude.
That's badass. Agrios?
Well, I mean, part of the reason I was asking is because I was hopping all around. I haven't really played a lot of PvP since the last gun rebalancing update, and I have not really found a home just yet. I mean, I was doing fairly well with, a couple weeks ago, there was a full auto PDX 45, I think, roll that came through, and I was having some fun with that rolling around. But Soul Stealer's Claw was where I was at before the last update, but I wasn't really digging it the other day. So that's kind of why I wanted to know what everybody was rolling this week.
Jez?
I play with, like, all 3 archetypes of scouts. Like, I like the fast firing and I like the slow firing. And sometimes just play with the medium firing because it's the old reliable.
Got it. And what are the give me one example of each.
Disc 47 for the fast firing. There's Mida multi-tool for the medium, or if you really want to go old school, that's also your raid scouts. And then for the slow firing, you have stuff like I think Galleon's Demise and the new one, and also that's also where Jade Rabbit is.
Okay.
Not like the others.
CrimZon Warlock, go-to primary and PvP.
I'll give you 3 guesses and one of them won't count.
Bad Juju.
Bad Juju.
Nope.
Oh.
Red Death.
Well, that was the other one.
Exactly.
You said 3 guesses, one doesn't count. That was
well,
one that doesn't count.
You and Agrios both said the same thing.
You were so in love with Bad Juju.
I love Bad Juju in PvE and Red Death in PvP. Those are like my 2 go-tos. But once I upgrade Nerwin's Mercy, it'll probably be my next go-to. Mine's pretty low. It's like 311. So I don't play with it much. But definitely pulse rifles. though I have gone other ones at other times. Did Mida last Iron Banner, but this Iron Banner, it's Red Death. Red Death's hitting pretty hard, and I think that's due to weapon balances with the pulse rifles because it's a slower pulse rifle, so it's doing a little bit more damage.
I've been really meaning to dust off my Mida multi-tool, but I can't stop playing with that DIS 47 with the max stability auto roll. Like it's just so dead on. Like I will win many battles. The only things that I lose to are the that Grasp of Malak and dang, what is that other one? There's another pulse rifle that just beats me up in a one-on-one match. Otherwise, that 47 is fantastic.
Is it the OG Crucible one? That was like God roll from the beginning?
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh, I can't remember what it was.
But yeah, so I really enjoy that 47. Like it's just so smooth. I mean, I wish that it had the 57 scope, the 57 sight, so that it would highlight all enemy combatants. That was really helpful. But it's got the 28, which is pretty sweet too. There you go, Agrios.
Hacksaw.
Thank you, guys.
Hacksaw, yes. Hacksaw, exactly. Awesome. Well, what else we got to talk about, Gray?
We can kind of.
Oh, while we're talking about weapons for the Crucible, real quick note: there is, if you happen to have the Thesian fusion rifle waiting for the gunsmith, there is a really good roll this week.
Yeah, what is
People
it?
have fusion rifles waiting at the gunsmith?
I do. I got that Thesian waiting there as well.
It's a solar fusion rifle, but it has unassisted kills, increase your melee and grenade, and rangefinder. And with the injection molded, I think it was injection molded. I don't know, one of those. It's a good roll. I haven't seen a good Thesian roll in quite a while, and the one I have from a long time ago is just a hair better, or I definitely would have picked it up.
Got it. Yeah, I actually really enjoy that fusion rifle, and I have one waiting on each of my characters, or on each system, just in case, because it's mighty powerful, and it's actually it's one of the weapons that I feel is most unique in the way that it looks. Like it looks like just a weapon. Like there is no branding, there is no here's some weird shape. Like it looks just like a tube with it's very plain, it's very understated. I really like that about it.
Isn't that the Omelon one?
Yes,
It is an Omelon one, yes.
Yeah,
It is.
Omelon either goes like super smooth or super like we got a tube that's the weapon with a bunch of plastic grafted on.
absolutely. And I way have a love for both of those. That's really awesome. Okay. What else we got?
So we've got about 7 minutes until we should probably work on shoutouts. So I figured we could just run through this week at Bungie pretty quick. It won't be hard because Bungie even told us that we have no news to share. I was kind of hoping they would at least announce what their schedule was going to be for the streams that are going to come up about Rise of Iron, but they're not even telling when those are going to come out. So hopefully maybe with Bungie Day, they'll announce when those streams are going to be.
Got it.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Think they'll do that?
Yeah, I'd say that's a definite possibility.
Yeah, Bungie Day.
Yeah.
Bungie Day.
So we'll have to wait till then. Deej posted out a bunch of pictures that people had taken of their Iron Banner groups. That was pretty neat. If you want to try to get in on it, get your fire team together, get a picture out to Bungie. They want to do more clarification on what's going to happen with legacy consoles. So Remy, I'm actually going to throw this onto you because it affects you the most. Have you dove into the Destiny legacy console help pages to see what you got to do to make sure that this transition works well for you?
No, no, I haven't because I also play on the Xbox One. It will it will be very simple for me to not have to worry about any of it, because what I will want to do is I will want to keep whatever I'm doing on the Xbox One. And you know what's crazy? You know it's crazy and it's really sad. Ever since they announced this, I have not played on my Xbox 360. I just haven't. I feel like I'm needing to say goodbye to it as soon as possible, and so I'm just preparing myself to live in this world where I only play on the Xbox One. Also, I'm a bit worried that something that I do could overwrite what I'm doing on the Xbox One. Although right now it is identical in game, and I could start a mission on the 360 and then turn off my 360 and then turn on the Xbox One and pick up right from that checkpoint. It's I don't know.
The overrating stuff, I mean, you're never going to have to worry about that, because first off, the change isn't going to happen till August. And even when it does happen, that's it. There's going to be, a line in the sand. Things aren't going to be shared anymore. So there's not going to be any way to overwrite it, because there's no way to share it anymore. You're going to have two sets of characters that are just going to be able to continue forward as they see fit.
Okay, but the problem is, the thing that I'm worried about is that so people who aren't playing on a next-gen console in September, they will be able to continue to play Destiny, and then at some point afterwards, they haven't listed off a set date of when you either have to transfer to next gen, or Destiny 1 is no longer going to work on your legacy system. Like they have
there's
not.
No, wait, there's no point where
I'll call it now.
Is not going to work on your legacy system.
It is going to work on your legacy system.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, but what Remy's saying is you won't be able to transfer stuff over at some point. And I can tell you when it's going to be. It's going to be September 20th.
No.
That's going to be the cutoff date.
No, I disagree with that.
They've already said that they don't have a cutoff date for transferring from legacy to next gen.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever going to be one.
I think the date that, if there is a cutoff date, it's going to be that patch like the week before, when they start to add all of the new.
They don't want people who have been on and not playing
assets
Destiny
into the game.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were done. Okay.
I was just going to say, like, that would be the cutoff, is that the patch, just like how we got the light level increase patch with Taken King, like, we're going to get that same type of a patch before Rise of Iron officially launches, and that's when things are going to start to get cut off and
but
change.
that's what I'm saying. Rise of Iron on the 20th.
I don't think
after the 20th you're not going to be able to transfer stuff anymore.
So they're only going to give people a month to realize this is going on and transfer their characters?
So guys, I just pulled it up from the Bungie help page. What they're saying is that account import, transitioning from your old gen to current gen within the same console family, will begin August 2016, but there's no end date. I think they're going to allow it perpetually to do that one-time import from old gen to current gen.
Right.
Okay, and so what I'm saying is that I'm fearful of this. Like, let's say that Rise of Iron's out for 3 months, and I'm playing on both accounts because for whatever reason, but I make mistakes, or I screw around on the Xbox 360 because it has no future. It has nothing to do with the future of my playing Destiny for years down the line, and I somehow upgrade my legacy information over the information that I have.
This is a one-time request. You're never going to do that.
It probably also has to be done from the website, not in the game.
Right.
Totally. But yeah, so they haven't set a date for when is the last time that you can import your stuff. And I'm thinking probably what will happen is they will stop supporting Destiny because of whatever reason. They'll stop supporting Destiny on legacy consoles because, Microsoft stops supporting Destiny on legacy consoles or whatever it is. And then your information will just be stored on Bungie's servers. And then at some point, any point in the future, you will be able to purchase a next-gen system, and you will be able to just pick up right from where you left off. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
Okay, so if they have Destiny 1 on legacy systems on autopilot mode, as in they have no intention of ever going in there and tampering with what Xur comes out, they already said that there's no more events going to come to the legacy system. If it's on autopilot mode and Destiny is run as a peer-to-peer service, I don't see any reason why it would ever stop working. It costs them almost nothing to keep going.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey guys, what do you think about this statement that they're making on their help page? So if you look on the screen, you'll see it says account import. And this is referring to, it says that all accounts will need to perform the account import process. It can be done one per account, bring the account data forward and make it playable on the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One console. Then it's got 2 bullet points. Destiny players that want to upgrade from a legacy console to PlayStation 4 or Xbox One will need to perform the account import as part of the upgrade process. This we know, it makes sense. But the next bullet point, Destiny players that only play on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One consoles will also need to perform the account import process to continue playing on their consoles.
Interesting.
So Remy, it sounds like you're going to have to do it on, well, you're going to be forced to do it on your Xbox One, and that's going to count for your account import.
Got it. Very interesting.
That doesn't really make sense. So I'm going to have to go online and do something online to be able to continue playing Destiny on my PlayStation 4 one day?
Yes, that's what it's saying. How can
they do that to people? What if people don't have access to, don't have internet access, with a computer? I guess you can go through the PlayStation 4 console if it'll let you sign in. I never tried to sign into Bungie.net through the PlayStation 4 browser.
It says accepting the dialogue will perform the account import.
Oh, so you just click X when you join.
So it says once the process is available, players will be prompted with the account import dialog upon their first login to a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One console.
Okay.
So that's what it is. Players must accept the dialogue in order to be able to play Destiny account on their PlayStation 4 or Xbox One.
So how do you guys feel about them never
process? Huh?
So how do you guys feel about them never bringing the Iron Banner to these old consoles now? I understand not doing all kinds of support and fancy new things and whatnot, but is it really hard to flip the Iron Banner switch for these people? I feel like they should run that stuff till Destiny 2 comes out.
I think it would have to, you'd have to come up with a whole new instance of it. Which
no more trials. I mean, it exists.
Might not be hard to do, but coming up with new. I feel like
you don't need to put new stuff out, but
whoa! Someone just got way robotic. I think it was CrimZon.
Yeah,
oh yeah, it was.
I'm a little bit bummed about. I kind of understand it, but it's too bad that the Destiny events and activities are going to change. They're not going to have the same ones as current gen. Trials and Iron Banner are no longer going to be available. The silver thing, I'm not really I don't care one way or the other about, but it's too bad for them. It's a process. It's something that they've known is likely coming, but it's unfortunate but necessary.
It's less than 1 year after they could have potentially purchased TTK and no more trials or Iron Banner for them. Less than 1 year from when they bought TTK on the only console they own. No more trials and Iron Banner.
I don't know. What do you guys think about the fact that I think it was Irk that threw out the fact that 90% of people are playing on next-gen consoles? Do you think that's true? I mean, obviously they have the data. We don't have that data.
That's been true for a long time.
You think so? 90%?
Yeah, I've had data that I've mentioned on the show before that was close to those numbers.
Okay, well then, yeah, I don't know. I think that making these events happen for, some kind of 10% or less, it doesn't really make sense.
But
how
hard
is it to flip that switch or whatnot?
It's a 10-year-old system.
Oh no, I know what's happening. Everything is changing dramatically. We're not going to see the same Iron Banner that we saw previously. That's what's happening. What we're going to see moving forward is we're not going to see this regular trials. There's going to be something different and better about it that wasn't replicatable on the legacy systems. That's got to be what it is.
And 10-year-old system aside, Sharks, they sold people on that system the TTK product less than 1 year before they're shutting down Trials and Iron Banner on it. They could have bought the TTK package brand new into Destiny.
Wait.
So they've only got 11 months of...
No, they did not sell you Iron Banner and Trials. Those are special events.
Trials came with House of Wolves.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's that special event, special weekly event. It doesn't when you bought it. I mean, I don't remember. It's been so long, but I'm pretty sure it didn't say, "Ooh, come and play Trials every week and come and play Iron Banner every month." It never said that, and everybody gets in a big, huge huff like when Iron Banner. I mean, I do because I love it when it gets canceled. But in reality, that's not what I bought. I bought a game that I can go and do a raid or go and do a COE and go and do my strikes and go and do my dailies and play PvP. And so these people with these 10-year-old systems are still going to be able to play what they bought.
Yeah, these people with an 11-month game, I think, is the better way to look at it. 10-year-old systems are relevant. They have an 11-month-old game.
Yeah, and Remy, I think as much as I want to believe that it's because there's a new feature that's coming out or new processes with Trials and Iron Banner, and there's a chance, but I think that there's also the likelihood that they know that 10% player base, whatever that number is of actual people playing, is going to decrease after the switch. There's going to be people who probably stop playing the game because of this whole legacy console switch. And how easy is it going to be to matchmake into a good quality game with a very limited player base? So I wonder if part of their concern is we actually can't make Iron Banner or Trials a good experience for the people because we don't have enough people to make for good matches.
That's the best point I heard yet.
Totally. But I mean, if we think about it, like this is the same thing that's happening all across the board. They're talking about better graphics and better flair for things like, just being out in the world or the way people interact with stairs. Like we're talking about they're going to bring Iron Banner and Trials into this new world, and that new world doesn't work on legacy systems. Like that's the fact. That's the end of it. Like they can't do that, which is why they're separating the two instances. So it doesn't make sense for them to run like a brand new Iron Banner on one and try and keep this old Iron Banner going for the older systems. But that's it. We're out of time. We gotta hit some shout outs, starting with Gray.
So my shout out this week goes to Bobcat. Bobcat, you guys know him. Sometime we'll look at being able to share his story with the whole Guardian 1 and Destiny community because he's such a neat guy and he's been through a lot. But I felt so bad for him. We played Trials on Sunday and we were playing so hard. We were doing great. We had 5 wins on our card, no losses, and he had to go to work. So the next day we were going to sign back on in the morning and finish our card. So get up early before we have to go to work, and he wasn't able to do it. So then we're going to do it in the evening, and he drops out. Radio silence. We don't hear from him. River and I were messaging him on Xbox Live. We're messaging him on Twitter. We're, doing everything we can besides hiring a private detective. And I asked him if I could share the story, and he said it was fine. Poor guy had an allergic reaction to an antibiotic that he was on because his immune system is still suppressed from the chemotherapy and had to get rushed to the hospital, ambulance ride, full-blown anaphylaxis type reaction, throat closing up, and wasn't actually released from the hospital until much later when we finally found out that something bad actually did happen to the guy. He's doing well now. He's recovering, and now his medical records are up to date for what he can take and can't take. But our thoughts are with you, buddy. And my shout outs for you for everything that you're going through and keeping that positive spirit that you have.
Damn, that's crazy. Sharks.
My shout outs to all the people in the UK that feel that they've been affected by leaving the EU. Sorry for everything that's happened. Come play Destiny and let's try to cheer you up.
I like it. Agrios.
I'm going to give my shout out this week to Grey Ghost for picking up the slack on the news and whatnot while I'm out roaming the countryside.
Excellent. Jez.
You guys always have such interesting shout outs, and mine is like, I don't know, butts. Shout out to butts.
Well, you know what? Somebody has to be that guy, Jez. Yeah. And I appreciate you not making me that guy. Right? Right. Crimson Warlock.
My shout is to another bit of the LDS gamers that I play with a whole bunch. Country Boy and Hobo. You guys really helped me a lot in Iron Banner, and because playing with you guys in the team, just the way the team interacted, like I had my best KDs I've had in a long time. And so thanks, guys. It was fun playing with you, and I can't wait to do it again.
Country Boy, Hobo, and Crimson Warlock together again. It's a beautiful story. My shout out is also to Bobcat. He's an excellent Guardian 1 member. Somebody I'd definitely like to spend a lot more time with. And hopefully in the ways that my schedule are opening up, I will be able to do that. Specifically, just recently, there was a time when we were really tilting on the raid, and one of the guys dropped out, didn't say anything to us. He just cut. And Bobcat was there, and he showed up, and he basically took the raid by the nose and like chilled us all out. Like he said, dance it out. Now dance it out. And it was just really a really fun, great experience. And he's helped me previously, and this whole thing with the chemotherapy, like I'm glad that he was able to get the help that he needed. And I'm glad that he made it to the hospital. What a horrifying world this would be without Bobcat. So hope you get better, buddy. And I hope you stay that way. Because 2016 has already taken way too many people, and you need to hang around for a while. And that wraps up episode 90. I would like to thank everyone listening for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any questions or suggestions for topics to be discussed on the show, please leave them in the comments below or send them to feedback@guardian1.net, and we will see you next week.